What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're back on Radical Red 4.1 and today's challenge we can beat Pokemon Radical Red 4.1 using a random egg group. So today we got the mineral egg group, which I was surprised. I was actually expecting the water 2 egg group and have back-to-back water egg groups. But this time around we're using the mineral egg group and they are primarily like rocks. Like somehow they're rocks, but not all rocks are mineral Pokemon or in the mineral egg group, so it's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Didn't make a lot of sense to me during it and during the research of egg groups, so it got really annoying. Either way, we're gonna try to beat the hardest ROM hack in the world right now with our mineral egg group, and we're gonna use Pokemons from the mineral egg group. Also, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop it in comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the video itself. So to begin off, there is no mineral starter Pokemon. I thought there would be one, but apparently there's not. There's actually not any other mineral Pokemon until you go south into Route 24 and then get ourselves a Dwebble, and Dwebble is the only mineral Pokemon we can get. We have to stock up our team for 6 Dwebbles to get through the first part of the game. So we beat Brendan with 6 Dwebbles and also beat this trainer to unlock the infinite repels and then face off against the final trainer to get ourselves into Pewter City, and that is how we get through the first portion of the game. Once we get through that, we have access to a lot more mineral Pokemon because more than not, most of them will be inside of caves and whatnot since they're minerals. So we get a full team of 6 actually finally, and we can finally go out and face off against Faulkner. Faulkner is a little more difficult than expected. I didn't expect him to be this difficult, but we didn't beat him on our first attempt even though we have a bunch of rock types. And from there we beat Faulkner and we can make our way into the first gym in the game. We can face up against Brock first, and we can start the battle off against him using my Sinistea. Somehow it's a mineral. We're gonna start the battle off against his Hippopotas, going for a Mega Drain and 2-shotting it, as from there you can go to his Elite, which I switched out into my Dwebble, and Dwebble has Fury Cutter, which is super effective and it gains more power each time I use it, so eventually we can chip him down and get a crit to knock out the Elite. From there, you can switch out to his room, which I break his air balloon, and he's able to toxic me. I go for a really bad Bodos as he switched out to his Lunatone. He's gonna knock me out, but should be fine as I go out into my Galarian Yamask. Galarian Yamask is able to knock out the Lunatone for us and chip down the Cacnea as we go out into my Sinistea to Will-O-Wisp into the Cacnea to just make it weaker, and then go out to my Geodude, survive a Bullet Seed just barely, knock out the Cacnea, knock out the Vroom, and then knock out the Arcan for us as we beat down Brock and yeah, secure ourselves the first gym badge in the game. Now from there, a lot of our Pokemon actually evolved, so we have both the Gravelers and actually no, we don't have a lot of Pokemon that evolved, just the Gravelers. As from there we can beat down this trainer a little harder as we make our way into Mount Moon. We got a bunch of more Pokemon in here, which is really nice, and then face off against the Scientist. Surprisingly, Cargo is the best Pokemon possible for this Scientist trainer because he did not beat Cargo. Cargo is my lead Pokemon, just swept him down. And from there we face off against Archer. Archer's a pretty easy fight as well. We could just spam our sturdy Pokemon like crazy. That's why I really like the mineral egg group. Doesn't make too much sense. There's a lot of sturdy Pokemon, so you can get through the game pretty easily. As from there, you can look at my team. We really can't beat Misty, so we're not going to try to attempt it, as we can go out north of Cerulean City into the Nugget Bridge, where we can clear through the Nugget Bridge, get our way into Vermilion City after beating this trainer, this double battle fight, and then from there we can make our way into Diglett's Cave, which we had access earlier, but we have access to the second part of Diglett's Cave. We have access to a lot of other Pokemon, as you can see in my box right now, and then from there we could go back and face off against Misty. So we start the battle off against Misty using my Lunatone to Hypnosis into the Politoed, and then from there I could Side Shock into him. And for some reason I went to Rock Slide here and it worked out. For the past 20 restarts it always wakes up second turns. I never get a third turn sleep, so I went for a Rock Slide to flinch it, and then it did, and then Side Shock to knock him out. Then she's gonna go out to her Starmie, which I switch into my Sinistea to sag, go out to my Golem, and then from there I could Thunder Punch into him, go out to my other Graveler to Sucker Punch and knock out the Starmie, and then self-destruct on the Ludicolo. Didn't even kill him, so that's pretty bad for us as I go out to my Garbodor. Somehow this thing's also a mineral. I'm able to go for a Sludge and knock out the Ludicolo. She then goes out to her Toxicroak, which I go to my Graveler, catch it on a Sword Stance, and then Magnitude 9 it to knock him out, and then Sucker Punch to chip down the Mantine as I go out to my Garbodor once again. I get a Body Slam Paralyzed from it, and then from there, I mean, the battle's pretty much over. I sacrifice my Garbodor, go out to my Lunatone, knock out the Mantine, and then knock out the Clodsire as we beat down Misty, get ourselves the second gym badge in the game. And now we can move on into the next hardest fight in the game. We can face off against this water type double battle fight, which is really storm draining and it just spams me. Lucky enough, I got lucky at the end. We're able to just Hypnosis down the Cameron and knock him out. As from there, we can move on into the next gym in the game. We're going to face off against Lieutenant Surge. We're going to start the battle off against Surge using my Graveler. Now, Graveler is able to 3 Rock Blast to knock out the Rotom Frost, and then from there, you can switch out to his Ampharos, which has Focus Blast. So I go out to my Golurk, which survives the hidden power, and then High Horsepower to knock out the Ampharos in 2 shots. His next Pokemon is going to be an Electrode, which I then go out into my Garbodor to take the Chloroblast, and then go out to Marina, guys, maybe to get a free knockout there. He then goes out to his Palna, which I'm able to go for a Magnitude and his Shadow Sneak to knock out. He then goes out to his Hitmonlee, I Will-O-Wisp it, and then I knock him out with a bunch of Shadow Claws, as you can see. And then from there, his final Pokemon will be a Raichu. I get a Shadow Sneak on him, and the battle should be over. As I go out to my Graveler, and Graveler is able to go Sucker Punch and knock out the Raichu. We beat down Surge, and we can make our way into the Rock Tunnel. As you can see, I picked up a lot of good Pokemon in the Rock Tunnel. As you see, Dodge Bun is even a mineral one. I even got the new Sinistea, which kind of good. I didn't really use it. I really like Electrode. It's fast and it's also not a rock type, so it's very good variety. From there, we're gonna make our way into Lavender Town by clearing through this trainer over here. Golurk's a beast. Golurk just survived everything. From there, we can move on and face off against this Hisuian trainer, which is going to let us have access into Celadon City, and also we get ourselves a Porygon, which I thought I was going to use a lot. I didn't. From there, we're going to face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Erica. We're going to start the battle off against Erica using my Sudowoodo. We're going to go for a counter. As she goes for a U-turn into her Kartana, I'm like, oh, that's pretty bad. Go out to my Steelix to survive the Grassy Glide against the Kartana, and then go for a Fire Fang. Survive the Sacred Sword. Got lucky with there. Knock out the Kartana at least, and then from there, I could Crunch, and then he's going to teleport into a Sceptile. It's going to knock me out, which is fine, as I go out into my Crustle. Crustle's able to go for X-Scissor and knock out the Sceptile. As from there, Lowbro to teleport into the Hawlucha. Okay, it knocks me out. I go out to my Sturdy Magnezone to discharge and knock out the Hawlucha, and then from there, she can switch out into her Toxicity, which I go for a Magnitude with my Rune Guys, which will knock him out. From there, her next Pokemon will be the Slowbro again, which teleports into her Ogerpon. That goes for U-turn. It's not really making a lot of sense why the AI is like this, but a lot of times it loops like this. Eventually, we knock out the Slowbro. The Ogerpon knocks on my Rune Guys. I'm able to knock him out with Colossal, which has Tar Shot, which actually came in handy for once. And then from there, we beat down Erica. We have access into the game corner. We get all the TMs, and also we get a Frigibax, which is going to be really nice to have. We're going to come back here later. If you guys don't know, you will know later on. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni. Giovanni's a pretty easy fight. And then from there, why is my Lunatone... Was my Lunatone under level? Why was my Lunatone under level? Anyways, from there, we beat down Giovanni. We make our way into Lavender Tower, and then get ourselves the Pokeflute, and then face off against a rival in Silphco. It's a pretty easy fight. We also got a really easy fight against Archer and Ariana in this double battle fight with Brendan as my teammate, so we'll take that. Once we beat down Archer and Ariana, we're going to face off against Giovanni. Giovanni's a lot easier fight as well. Rune Guys is so broken, as you can see, this thing is monstrous. Anyways, from there, we beat down Giovanni. We're going to face off against Chuck in the Saffron City Dojo. Clear through him pretty easily, and then get ourselves the Focus Ash from him, and then face off against Sabrina herself. So Sabrina's going to be the 5th gym leader in the game. She starts the battle off using Infinite Mist Train and Infinite Trick Room. She goes for a Camera Up, Mega Camera, and Tapu Fini. I go for my Magnezone and also my Golurk. I go for a Headlong Rush with my Golurk to knock out the Camera Up, and Zap Cannon with my Magnezone to knock out the Tapu Fini. It didn't knock him out, but it's going to knock out my Magnezone and leave my Golurk at 1 HP. From there, I go out into my Rune Guys against them. Rune Guys is able to knock out the Tapu Fini with a Shadow Sneak, and then from there we get chip damage on the Iron Hands, which isn't too good. From there, next Pokemon will be a Jellicent. I double Shadow Sneak it to knock him down to low HP. My Rune Guy survives, so that means I can knock him out in the following turn. From there, I go out to my Bronzong, which will Side Shield Bash into the Iron Hands to boost my defenses, and it works out pretty well for us. As from there, I'm not too sure why my Rune Guys, I put my Rune Guys to Earthquake. My Bronzong does not have Levitate, so I knocked out my own Pokemon for some reason. Didn't make any sense, but then it works out for the best as I go out to my Sudowoodo, Sucker Punch to knock out the Iron Hands, and then from there my Colossal so slow it actually outspeeds the Magearna in Trick Room. We knock out the Magearna, and then from there we could just double attack into Glacier, and we can end up knocking him out. So we beat down Sabrina, even though I knock out my own Pokemon, by the way. So we beat down Sabrina. We can make our way into the Cycling Road and face off against all the trainers down here, and then make our way into Fuchsia City where we face off against Brendan. Brendan's a pretty easy fight, especially Rune Guys. This thing should be banned. This thing's so good. With Shadow Shield as an ability, it's not fair. And from there, we're gonna make our way into Safari Zone and then go back and face off against the first 3 gym leaders in the game. Face off against Brock. He's a lot easier, expectedly. Process is somehow a mineral Pokemon. Anyways, from there, we're going to face off against Misty and face up and just beat down Misty pretty easily. There's nothing... I mean, Sudowoodo clutched up, I guess, and then face off against Lieutenant Surge. You'd be surprised, Bronzong is actually a really good Pokemon. Bronzong with Side Shield Bash and boosted defense is really good. We beat down Surge, and now we have access into the next gym in the game. We're face off against Koga, and we start the battle off against Koga. Restarting a few bit into my Steelix gets good RNG, and then I can spin out and knock out the Tapu Lele. From there, he's gonna switch out to his Nidoking, which I go out to my Excalibur. I really thought I could survive it easier than this, but lucky enough, I barely survived the Poison Jab with 4 HP. Icicle Crash and knock out a Nidoking. His next move is going to be a Toxicity. I decide to save my Excalibur and go out to my Steelix to go for an Earthquake and knock out the Toxicity. As from there, he's going to go out to his Hoopa, which I go out into my Crustle. Crustle's able to one-shot the Hoopa, and then from there, sacrificing it into the Crocodile's Moxie. Maybe not the greatest play because it one-shots with a crit my Ferrothorn. I'm like, ooh, that might be really bad. So I got to my Golem to Explosion and knock out the Crocodile, but his final Pokemon will be a Shiyu, which I do have my Gigalith in the back for, and Rock Blast will knock out the Shiyu at least. So that's, you know what, maybe it was fine after all. From there, we have access to Surf, and we can go into Seafoam Island and face up against Price next to get ourselves a Choice Scarf, which is really easy. Make our way into Cinnabar Island and face up against May. I hate this May fight because I hate the Magma Storm implication of the field. From there, we can move on and we can make our way into the next gym in the game. We can make our way into Blaine's gym, which we clear through. We face off against the trainers and face off against Blaine himself. We're going to start the battle off against Blaine using my Magzone. Magzone's getting a Vote Switch into his Vote Switch, so it goes out to his Walking Wake. I go out into my Excalibur with a Choice Scarf to knock him out. From there, he's going to switch out to his Venusaur, which I actually stayed in, and then Glaive Rush him once again. He goes for a Growth, and then now I'm scared. I go out to my Sudowoodo, which will survive a move, and Suck Punch to knock out the Venusaur. He then goes out to his Great Tusk, which will knock out my Sudowoodo as I go out to my Runegeist. Runegeist is getting Will-O-Wisp, and then I sack him. That's not the greatest play, but I go out to my Avalok next. Soon Avalok would knock out the Great Tusk for us, and then chip down the Ho-Oh, eventually knock him out to his Phoenix form, but he's gonna knock me out as I go out to my Gigalith. Gigalith is able to knock out the Ho-Oh for us, and then Charizard comes out. His Charizard X is gonna knock out my Gigalith. My Glaive Rush on my Excalibur would knock out the Charizard for us, and then go out into my Magnet Zone to sack. Go back out to my Excalibur to Ice Cold Crash and knock out the Sandy Shock, and we did pretty good as we beat down Blaine. From there, we're gonna make our way into Cerulean Cave and face up against Archer and Ariana. This fight's a little complicated, but we actually only end up losing 2 Pokemon. So we beat down Archer, and then from there we can make our way and face off against Ariana. This fight a little easier than expected because Bronzong's actually kind of a G. Just Hypnosis down the Buzzwole, and then from there I can just short everything else. We beat down Ariana, even though she could have gone for a Suck Punch. From there we can face off against Giovanni, and Giovanni's a pretty easy fight as well. We have Porygon for once. You know, Porygon did some damage, and then from there we just clear down everything with Discharge basically, and our Runegeist in the back to knock out the Mewtwo, and we beat down Giovanni as we make our way into the final gym in the game. We're gonna face off against Claire next. Claire is gonna be the 8th gym leader in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Bronzong. I've been using this thing a lot. Hypnosis into the Shuckle. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay asleep as it's gonna go for a Sticky Web, but we knock out the Shuckle. From there, she can switch out to her Ultra Necrozma, which I go for Hypnosis, put that thing to sleep once again. She then switched out for some reason, which I should have gone for Shield Ram. From there, I decided just to sack my Bronzong for some reason, chip down to Archelodon, but go out to my own Archelodon and then Mirror Coat into him, which maybe it was, you know, didn't really need it. And then sack it to the Magearna, which I go out to my Runegeist to knock out, so we'll take that. Then goes out to her Roaring Moon, which I Will-O-Wisp, and then from there I could just chip down with Earthquake. It's weird to see something with wings getting Earthquake, but we knock out the Roaring Moon and then chip down the Eternatus. As from then, I go out to my Avalok, my Hisuian Avalok with Mirror Coat into him and knock out the Eternatus, and then chip down the Necrozma as we end up beating down Claire. Yeah. Pretty easy fight. We beat down Claire, get ourselves the 8 gym batch in the game, face off against our rival in Route 22. Very important. We find out that he's using his water team, so we don't have to worry about that. He's going to use his water team in the Elite Four. We cleared through him pretty easily and then face off against Brendan. Brendan's also easy fight as we cleared through him and then make our way into Victory Road. Now, once we beat Victory Road, we face off against this trainer with Shed Inches. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Metagross is a mineral Pokemon. Why did I forget about that? I have the Metagrossite. It doesn't give us the Metagrossite anymore, so I had to go find it. But I could get Beldum. I could get Metagross. I can also get Aegislash, which I was like, oh wait, I remember these Pokemon. During my research, I just forgot about them. So yeah, now the game got infinitely easier because I got the most broken Pokemon in the game. Mega Metagross. Also Aegislash, also Mirror Coat Avalok, Archelon. We have another Hisuian Pokemon. We have a Hisuian Electrode, and then my Sudowoodo with counter, and that's kind of what it's used for. But my team is gonna be really, really good. As from there, we can move on and face off against the first Elite Four member in the game. We're gonna face off against Lorelei. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Aegislash and my Archelon. From there, I could go for a Sacred Sword into the Iron Bundle as he goes for Fake Out into me and then missed the Hydro Pump, so we one-shot into the Iron Bundle. She then goes out to her Genesect, which is not the greatest play, as from there I Mirror Coat, knock out the Genesect with my Archlodon. From there, she goes out to her Origin Form Palkia. I get a nice Draco Meteor on it. Just because I'm messing around, it works out anyways. I get a Draco Meteor to knock out the Palkia, and I'm like, this thing is broken. I also chip down the Ludicolo to 1 HP, so I can Shadow Sneak into him as the Swampert knocks out my Archlodon. I go out to my Electro to knock out the Swampert, chip down the Dragonite to break the Multi-Scale at least. From there, I go out to my Mega Metagross to knock him out. So we end up beating down Lorelei without any issues at all. And we can move on and face out against Bruno next. We're going to start the battle off against Bruno, use my Avlog. Now, Avlog just baits the Infernape into a close combat to go for a Bodos and then a Cell Rock to knock him out. As his next Pokemon is going to be a Necrozma Dustmane. He's going to knock out my Avlog as I stayed in, and I know I have Sturdy. I could go for Metal Burst all I want. So eventually I Metal Burst into the Necrozma, knock him out, and then from there he's going to switch out to his Lucario. Knocks out my Archlodon, but I go out into my Sudowoodo, which he swapped out into Zacian, so I counter anyway. So from there he knocks me out, but I knock out Zacian. I go into my Aegislash next to go for Shadow Claw, King Shield, and then Shadow Sneak into him, but he goes out to Zeraora, which is kind of smart. Go out into, I don't know why I switched out into my Metagross, but it works out. Somebody with Zen Headbutt and knock out the Zeraora. Bullet Punch twice. Okay, Bullet Punch didn't kill him, but Shadow Sneak will kill the Lucario. As from there, his final Pokemon is going to be an Iron Valiant, as I'm able to Iron Head and knock out the Iron Valiant as we beat down Bruno pretty easily. From there, we can move on and face up against Agatha next. Now, Agatha, pretty easy fight. We start the battle off against her using my Avlog once again. We have Rapid Spin on my Avlog. I can go for Icicle Crash into Rapid Spin, and then from there, the Victini comes out. It's kind of annoying. I go for a Rapid Spin to remove the hazards, but it's going to knock me out. As from there, I go out into my Archlodon. I can go for a Miracle easily and knock out the Victini. As from there, the Yveltal is going to knock out my Archlodon as I go out into my Electro to Discharge. Gets to Paralyze at least, and then it's going to knock me out. I then go out into my Metagross to knock out the Yveltal. From there, she switched out to Mewtwo, which I'm like, I think I could survive. I go for a Meteor Mash and then Zen Headbutt to crit and knock him out, so we'll take that. As from there, her next one will be a Calyrex. I guess is the right play. I switched out to my Sudowoodo, sack it, and then go on to my Focus Sash Aegislash to go for a Shadow Claw and knock out the Calyrex for us. As from there, his final Pokemon is going to be a Fluttermane as I go out to my Metagross. Meteor Mash to one-shot the Fluttermane as we beat down Agatha with 47 HP left. Now, next up, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to take a little while as we restart it until we get this Glimmora paralyzed and unable to set up hazards for us. As from there, once we get it done, it will always switch out into a Melmetal as I Volt Switch out. I'm going to go out into my Archlodon. Archlodon, well, does a lot of damage. Chip down with Rock Smash of all things, and it's going to knock me out. I go out into my Metagross next to knock out the Melmetal, and then from there, he then sends out his Arceus Fairy. I go for a Meteor Mash, knock him out in one shot, and then Meteor Mash into his Rayquaza as I'm able to chip him down. I don't sack my Metagross. I actually sack my Avlog, surprisingly. My Sudowoodo was able to knock out a Rayquaza. As from there, his next Pokemon will be a Primal Dialga. Go out to my Aegislash to Shadow Claw. Go out to my Metagross to chip down. He keeps Roar Time me. Eventually knocks out my Aegislash, but I'm able to knock him out with my Metagross. And then from there, his next Pokemon will be a Dragonite, which I try to go for a Bullet Punch to break his Multi-Scale, but he's going to knock me out. It's fine though, since I have my Sudowoodo in the back. Sudowoodo is able to go for a counter at any point to knock him out. From there, his final Pokemon will be a Glimmora. I Sucker Punch to knock him out as we beat down Lance. Now, next up, the final battle in the game, we're going to face off against a rival Blue. We're going to start the battle off against Blue using my Hisuian and Electro. We're going to go for a Miracle immediately with my Focus Sash. As he actually switched out, he's scared. He goes out to his turn as G-Max. I Miracle it anyways to knock him out in one shot. He then goes out to his Extreme Killer Arceus. I go out into my Metagross, and Metagross 1v1s him. Doesn't actually knock him out. He knocks me out with a Shadow Claw, but I leave him with 1 HP as I go out to my Avlog. Ice Shard to knock him out, and then he goes out to his Kyogre once again. I Miracle that thing once again and knock him out. That's pretty easy. As from there, his next Pokemon is going to be a Mega Swampert. It's going to knock me out, but I go out into my Sudowoodo to go for a counter and knock him out pretty easily. His next Pokemon after that will be a Walking Way. I Sucker Punch him, but it's going to knock me out. I then go out into my Archlodon to go for a Miracle to knock him out as well. And his final Pokemon will be an Ultra Necrozma. It's going to knock out my Archlodon as I go out to my Aegislash once again to Shadow Claw and one-shot it from full. So we end up beating down Blue in a really anticlimactic fight. We cleared through him pretty easily. We actually demolished him. And from there, we beat down Pokemon Radical Red 4.1 using only Mineral Egg Grip Pokemon. Now, does it really make sense that Electrode is a Mineral Pokemon? I don't know, but my team is actually pretty cool, and we actually made it harder for ourselves by not using Aegislash and Metagross throughout the game, but maybe it's a more fun watch actually. But either way, that'll be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.